Number three is if white people can change their minds in 20 seconds, what hope is there for White Alliance? This came with a link to Twitter. I'm familiar with the video too. Let's watch it and then we'll discuss it.
You're the exact opposite. I grew up as a white man, and you're the exact opposite, and so it's like my experiences are going to be different from yours.
How come?
I think there's a thing of like white privilege.
What privileges do you have that I don't have?
Oh, see, that's the question I keep asking myself, because like in this day and age, like all the laws, it's hard to speak on something I'm not fully knowledgeable of. So like, I'm sorry if I like make a mistake in saying this, but it's
Don't you think it's a problem in society when white people think that they have more privileges than brown or black people?
Yeah, and I think that's sort of the agenda that's pushed off, because personally, it's like, not that I think I'm more privileged than anyone else, because I had to work to get where I was. And that's like
So why do you have that mentality immediately where you kind of apologize to me? Like, let's talk about privilege. Let's talk about I'm a white man in America, so we could have grown up differently. Why is that your first initial reaction to me as a brown woman?
Wow, you're getting me good. See, these are the kind of conversations that I love having. And I think it comes from a place of like, I wouldn't say caution, but like in this day and age, people are so quick to judge and react and cancel. And so I guess it's that like caution to go into an interview like this. I'm like, I don't know where we're at, but now I know where we're at, and I can like go for real.
So, I like to play these types of prompts twice, but this is from one Savannah Hernandez. You can't see,
I man, and
you can't see the name, but she says a college student began explaining his white privilege to me, so I decided to take the opportunity to deprogram him in live time. Okay, good luck with the deprogramming, but you see how quickly the switch up happens. I'll play it one more time. It's just a minute 25 seconds.
I grew up as a white man, and you're the exact opposite, and so it's like my experiences are going to be different from yours.
How come?
I think there's a thing of like white privilege.
What privileges do you have that I don't have?
Oh, see, that's the question I keep asking myself, because like in this day and age, like all the laws, it's hard to speak on something I'm not fully knowledgeable of. So like, I'm sorry if I like make a mistake in saying this, but it's
Don't you think it's a problem in society when white people think that they have more privileges than brown or black people?
Yeah, and I think that's sort of the agenda that's pushed off, because personally, it's like, not that I think I'm more privileged than anyone else, because I had to work to get where I was. And that's like
So why do you have that mentality immediately where you kind of apologize to me? Like, let's talk about privilege. Let's talk about I'm a white man in America, so we could have grown up differently. Why is that your first initial reaction to me as a brown woman?
Wow, you're getting me good. See, these are the kind of conversations that I love having. And I think it comes from a place of like, I wouldn't say caution, but like in this day and age, people are so quick to judge and react and cancel. And so I guess it's that like caution to go into an interview like this. I'm like, I don't know where we're at, but now I know where we're at, and I can like go for real.
So D-Web in the chat says he's about sick of this dialogue. Quote, let's talk to the white man about how he should feel bad about being white, like it's going to change something. Pointless convo. Bobby Wright says, Koku, remember that movie 2001 Space Odyssey was made in 1968. They've been planning 50 years for right now. That's absolutely true. Carl Hezekiah says he didn't switch up. He was just sticking to the script until he felt comfortable. Tan, how do you feel about what you saw? Did this guy switch up in 20 seconds? And if so, for those people who want white alliances, we're not saying we want white alliances, by the way. But for those people who believe in white alliances, how can you believe in that when this guy switched his talking points in 20 seconds? What say you to that, Tad?
Well, I don't know, I think the best way to ally with somebody sometimes is just to leave them alone. And for me, I'm more concerned about the behavior of those people who I'm going to deprogram him. I'm going to save him. you know, from his book. Like, why? I don't even know why somebody would embark on such a hopeless journey. Like, there's no way, you know, you, for example, would understand what it was like to be somebody else. Like you say, you're the complete opposite of me. You know, if he thinks about that about you, then, you know, you should just take him as his word. You know, you just the opposite. There's no way I can understand you, and let's leave it at that. And then even when he described his privilege, he's still like, oh, but you know, I worked hard for mine, implying that, you know, you probably didn't. But you know, she doesn't even get that, and she just goes straight to, oh, but why would you believe that? I don't. This. Some of these women are just total airheads. Like, you know, you don't even get the concept. You just like, oh, you know, feelings and feelings, instead of looking at what he's actually saying. So yeah, I do agree with you know, D Web on that some of these conversations is just pointless, because why would you seek to understand something that, you know, if somebody cares so much, they should just go and do something about it, instead of, oh yeah, I feel so bad about it, but oh, I can't do anything about it, you know, I have so much privilege, but I can't do anything. But like, at that point, you're just like, oh, and what's the point? Why do you want to, you know, deprogram him and make him change his mind and make him do what anyway. So you know, I don't know about all this alliance stuff. You know, if somebody feels, for me, like the previous one, if these people want to do that, I guess, you know, they can do that. There's nothing you can do for them. Or we, you know, if you want to do that, you know, I don't know how to say it, but it's just part of that validation. Like now, instead of wanting to be validated by people, you want them to validate you as a moral, you know, how do you say it, expert. You're like, oh, you know, I'm the one in the right, let me tell him how it is, and shake your head and you know, wag your finger at somebody that they're in it for the spectacle. They just like to see you, you know, play your part, and then they play their part, and everybody goes back to doing whatever it is that they do. So even those people seeking answers from people, oh, why did you do this to me, it's like somebody, you know, punches you in the face, and then you ask them why they did that. Like people in the movies, when they're like, you know, they're shot, and then, oh, very surprised, like, oh, you shot me. Like, you know, you should not have shot me. That was not good for you to do. And yet they still want to. Anyway, that you know, that's all I say. I don't know about all this alliance stuff, but yeah.
No, to be clear, we don't care about alliances, but a lot of black folks think you could have a white allies and white alliances, and this just shows you, you know, he wasn't even pressed really, and in 20 seconds he switched it up. In the chat, the forecast says, name one treaty Europeans stick to. Good point. Trigger 262 says white liberals and leftists are useless. It's largely posture. They're not connected to the white elite, regardless. Jose says forecast is right on, spot on. Wisdom bars. I think it's the first time I've seen wisdom bars here. It says facts, less talking, more running them pockets. So, well, that's welcome wisdom bars, I guess. I think that's the first time I've seen wisdom bars here. Brother Bakari, if white people can change their mind in 20 seconds, what hope is there for white alliances?
There is no white alliance, right? Can y'all hear me? Because I'm in my car now. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, loud.
Okay, there is no white alliance. What there is, and I'm gonna go back to these rednecks again. I was out there doing business and they paying me their money. What it is somebody, if you can use and you can get some out the situation, get some out the situation. But the bottom line is white people white and they want power. There's no alliance. But if you can use it, try to use it. And I'm kind of like D Web with this conversation. Black people out here trying to make people feel guilty for being white, trying to make them feel guilty for having white privilege. Hell, if I had the power, you know what white people would be complaining about? Black privilege. So, and I think that's what we need to be shooting for inside of our communities. While we worried about white people giving white people privilege, let's give black people privilege by taking our communities back, by controlling our neighborhoods, by running other people out of we worry about them so much, want to be like them so much. So then why don't we do the things that they did? Let's become conquerors and have them come and asking you about your black privilege in your community and why nobody supported their store when they opened it up in our community. On that, I hear the mic.
Darren Bagari, I appreciate that. I like how you got right in there and hit it and hit the nail on the head. Seems like Wisdom Bars is from is around Omowale's podcast, so we appreciate you being here as well. Let's welcome in brother Carl this week. Carl, how are you this week?
Hey, Coco, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, Carl. Thanks for coming through.
So I saw this video. It was an interesting video. I don't know who the person is in the video, but they're trying to frame it as though white privilege is a myth. I don't like the term white privilege. The brother we looked at a couple of weeks ago, Diallo Kenyatta, talked about white pathology. So it's not that they so much have so much privilege. It's just they're pathological in their behavior. Of course, white people, they have advantages over other people. I mean, they the list is endless. There was a story where black people were selling their home and they got less money for their home than a white person would be selling the same home. There's a situation where white people have a confrontation with law enforcement where they're able to walk away alive, where black people can't even walk down the street without getting killed. So this just he's not being honest. And what she was trying to do, she was trying to just get the temperature of the room, kind of see um, what he was going to say. He was responding back with the same liberal talking points. And once she kind of let him know, hey, I'm not one of those, you can say how you feel. He made it sound like it was really deep, but it's not. They were just playing the role until he got comfortable and he could say what he really, really wanted to say without putting on the story, the lie. But no, I don't think we can really have any white alliances because if white people ally with black people, and they've tried to do alliances with black people before, and it always falls apart. And I think it was George Jackson, former Black Panther. He said that the greatest threat to a black-white alliance is white people's racism. We can't ally with them because whenever we try to ally with them, their racism gets in the way. We shouldn't even seek alliances with them. We need to organize ourselves within our own people, and then that work from there because they can't be trusted. Too much history has gone to show they can't be trusted. There's too much information to show that they can't be depended upon when it comes down to it. Even if our interests align, it doesn't matter because their racism is more important than anything else. So on that, yeah, I don't think we should even seek those type of alliances. They can't be trusted. They'll betray us, the minute they get opportunity. And that's my thoughts on that. I'll give the mic.
I appreciate that, Carl. Yeah, to be clear, we don't care about folks around these parts don't care about white alliances, but a lot of our people have that wool pulled over their eyes, so to speak, and they think that there's such a thing. And I like what Forecast said earlier. He said, what treaties have these people ever kept? Wisdom Bars right here saying, right, it should be more about us getting power and gatekeeping. They mess with us racially, we nip it in the bud. But with a dirt nap or some things broken, I agree with that 100%. That goes back to that 2A stuff we were talking about earlier, and having your liability insurance too. But yeah, that sound right there. Let's go to Oni. Oni, what say you?
Yeah, can you hear me? Oh shit, I don't think I can hear you guys.
No, yeah.
Okay. All right. No, I think I might have. All right, but yeah. So this right here, this is what I mean about this liberal, like these white liberals, and how they, like, what role they play. Because 2 seconds ago, this dude was a white liberal. Hey, yeah, I'm kind of privileged, and I feel like it's unfair, blah blah blah. And then this woman said, "Hey, look, man, you don't gotta do that white liberal shit to me. I'd rather a white conservative." He's like, "Oh, I got you." You know what I'm saying? Like he's, she's like, that the thing is, like I said, people don't realize. In fact, I said this. I actually went, not viral, but my type of viral. saying something along the lines of, you know, this prompt, right? But I also went a little viral when I pointed out to these folk that these white boys, you know, dating black women, just like the passport bros. You understand? In the sense that they going for women who they're mediocre dudes, going for women who see that they got better economic standing and overlook their mediocrity. You understand? So this boy, he knows he could just slide into, you know, I guess brown pom pom. You understand? Oh, I shouldn't say pom pom, brown vagina, right? He know he could do that, right? But he got to say the right things. He knows women is watching, and what he's doing, like it's all just a trick. It's all just a ploy because they know how to get black folk easy. But you see where his heart really is. You understand? They'll tell you, yeah, man, I mean, I'm with the cause, right? But you see where his heart really is. Or if his heart wasn't there, you see how quickly his heart can get there. You know, you're gonna be in the trenches. You know, like you know, Brother Bakari was talking about, you know, you're gonna bring first rifleman around, right? You know what I'm saying? you got to get it though. But what I'm saying is this: you're gonna be in the trenches, right? You're gonna be in the trenches, and you're gonna have the turncoat in the trench. Because see, this white boy, if you don't just look at a white boy and say, "Oh no, you guilty," you know what I'm saying? Because that's like I said, one of my first book was Zubiri. And Zubiri, he's like, white people is guilty, straight up. No court necessary. The white boy's guilty. If you don't have that mindset, right? What happens is that you're gonna have this white boy inside of your circle, and then some other white person is gonna come along, or they're gonna send a brown person, or they're gonna send a black person. Be like, hey man, why is it that you're, you know, they say you have privilege, but aren't you sweeping the floor too? But they want you to think privilege. You're like, yeah, you know, I don't got privilege. And you're like, okay, well, just tell us where we can find, you know, where the hideout is. Oh yeah, I got you. I'm just telling you, like we have to study military science seriously. We have to study military strategies seriously. And when you do, even just rudimentarily, right? When you do, what you're coming across is that a traitor is good, right? A traitor can be used. A spy can be used. That's what these white people are studying. That's all I'll say.
Only, I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but I saw a comment from Trigger Happy 262 on the Shoot the Breeze Clips channel earlier to gas them up about reading material. You mentioned studying militarism. What would you say where would you say is a good starting point, in your opinion, for studying militarism?
Oh, well, I mean, shit. Well, first off, you got to go to Tanzania. No, Tanzania knows his stuff. You just got to tell Tanzania. But beyond that, what I would say, book wise, you gotta, like, obviously you start off with the 2 Wars of War, right? You start off with the Art of War by Sun Tzu, Art of War by Machiavelli. There is this compilation book. I didn't read it. I'm not gonna hold you. There's this compilation book for where they have Clausewitz on war or something like that. There are some African war books as well, and obviously you also want to study Hannibal. Everybody studies Hannibal.
Yes.
But yeah, like I said, like I know Tanzania got a whole, you know, list for us, so that's another thing. I actually gotta go back to the list. I went on vacation. I have no good internet, so I got to go back to the book she recommended or the stuff she recommended. But there's like so, you know, there's so much. But I also want to say this when it comes to this sort of subject matter, right? We have to understand why we're seeking understanding. You know what I mean? Because you can, like I said, the books that I recommended about the Art of War and stuff, you can know where your enemy's coming from, right? But then you also want to review Like you just want to keep your eyes open in regards to what are the strategies at play when they're being played out in front of you. You know what I'm saying? But beyond that, like I said, I mean, I got my bookshelf right here. I can't tell you off the top of my head, but I think it's like Fighting for Honor is one of the books. I think you read it, right? You read it.
Yeah. Me
You
and Carl did
right?
it. Yeah, me and Carl did it. Yeah.
And there's like other stuff like that, but like definitely, I would say, you know, like I would definitely start off with the Sun Tzu and the Machiavelli, though. You know.
And by the way, for you guys listening, Oni is the host of the Pro Black Perspective. You guys make sure, follow his channel, purchase his books. And Oni, I'm looking to build a page on the website with your books and the projects and other people on KWAZ Radio has going on. So I'll talk to you about that later. It's just so that people could buy your book. Of course, I have nothing to do with the sales and all that kind of stuff. I just want to put it up there so people could find them. Oni also did the reading on.
It, bro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Don't let me forget that one. Nkrumah's.
Revolutionary
Warfare. Yeah, don't forget that one. That one's good. That's a good one
too. Yeah. That's a good one. And I have that on the Discord. So join the Discord and you could get that book for free in the Bitter Medicine Library.
I think I read the whole thing on YouTube. So
I'm just about to say, Oni read the whole thing. He also read the Machiavelli Ottawa book too. So check out those episodes. Check out those series. All right. Tanzan, do you have any books that you would add? Oh, yeah. Bobby E. Wright added a perfect one. This is why I like Bobby E. Wright. Bobby E. Wright reminds me of Emil Cacabral's People's War. Read that book too. Tanzan, do you have any books on the top of your head that you would suggest for a person who wants to study militarism?
Not so much books, but I would say something like a tactical game, like Monopoly or those games. People don't just play. War is like the ultimate game. People talk about sports. Yeah. Sorry.
I said chess. Chess is a game of war, actually. But go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of those things are, and it's a personal battle. It's like a survival battle because realistically, we don't have an army and all this. Most of the time, people are really fighting, just small battles, small Sisyphean battles. So you're not going to plan a whole thing, but being able to, like exercise, it's like training for training in a gym. You're not training or martial arts. You're not training so that you can get into a fight, but you're training so that you have your instincts and reflexes ready. So in case you do get into one. So I think that, and this is something that also you see with, with a lot of white people, like a lot of their parties, black parties, it's usually either, there's some music and food and dancing and so on. And then, a lot of white parties, it's either dinner party or people getting together and just talking. And, there is music sometimes, but not always. But most of it is just, interacting and talking and usually playing games or charades and, all kinds of, stuff. And they always, like, even if they go camping, they have board games. So things like that always get you, like, in the art of always thinking and scheming and being planning ahead, always being one step ahead of somebody else, or taking risks, calculating your chance of winning. Also in that whole aspect of psychologically being able to read people, like even in the game of poker, it's not just calculating your chances and luck and all those things are involved, but it's also knowing your opponents, reading them, and knowing how to 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 take advantage of your situation. So all those things play a part. And I think for me, yes, books are wonderful and great. I think another one is that 48 Laws of Power and so on. That's also on a more, both on a macro level and a micro level. I think that's one to add to it, but also just philosophically knowing the what all these things are based on, and mathematically, learning about chaos theory, learning about, history as well. History is also important, because history is not, a journey towards something. It's just people who learned how to take advantage of the current scenario, and learning who won and who lost and so on. History to me, and especially war history, that's usually, like the best aspect to learn about humanity. So any kind of war history, the books are all out there. You can get them. But yeah, war history is usually a good thing, especially the maritime war history. Yeah. All right.
Thank you for that
uh,
time.
Man, Azuli, I didn't say anything about, we were talking about books. The gun conversation was earlier.
Yeah, Zuli was late to the party. I want to add something too. I used to read these books. I don't know if you guys read them, but back in the Caribbean, we used to read these different Bobsey twins and Hardy Boys and stuff. And I remember the Hardy Boys describing a war games. And these white folks really do have this fucking thing. They really have something. It's a simulation of war. And so when you talk about, when you poo-poo on the games, the board games and all that stuff, don't do that, because they actually run those simulations for real, for real. Only, by the way, since you're the game developer, I see Erica Howard didn't know you have a channel. Only just debuted this like prototype of a game that he said he was going to work on. That's one thing I like with Oni. If he says he's going to work on something, he's going to work on it. And he was showing it in a short video the other day. Oni, are you familiar with this game called Clash of Clans?
Oh yeah, I heard of Clash of Clans. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a game. I would like to talk to you about that one day too. I think that's a prototype. I think that's something that we could make. Oh, well, by we, I mean people who have the skills can make a thing for our people too. I think it has some promise in terms of getting our folks thinking about strategy in military and stuff like that. Let me go to Carl next. Carl is well read as well. Carl and I had the book club. We did that book that Oni mentioned. Carl, are there any books on militarism that you would suggest?
We've already mentioned Art of War. We also mentioned Handbook of Revolutionary Warfare. I can't really think of any too many things that I would think of. One that I really enjoyed reading about was we mentioned Destruction of Black Civilization. That talks about warfare. It's not so much military strategy, but it is a history of battles and combat. So that's another good book I think would be good for people to read as well. Um, Give me some time to think about that. I'm not home right now as I go through my shelf, but that's a lot of good books that we should read about our strategy, because we are at war, and I think we lose sight of that so many times. The fact that we're at war with with an enemy who's bent on our destruction, our subjugation. So, let me come back to this question. There's a lot of good books out there I need to look into.
I appreciate it. Bakari, you were a military guy. Anything that jumps out of you as far as militarism, if someone wanted to study it?
No, not no, honestly, no, not really. No books, no no books, no none of that. And no, honestly, no. Sure, we can study military strategy, but nah, not really.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. That's fine, Bakari.
That's fine, Bakari.
Hold on, Bakari has a feedback coming up. Trigger Happy 262 says just generally jihads should be studied. That's interesting. Oh, he said military science. I've been told that we need to read more on contemporary terrorism. The enemy has been copying Hezbollah, Al Qaeda, and even the Vietnamese. Azuli said, and crewman bust a shot. How you writing a war book? Goddamn Azuli. Anyway. Bobby Wright says, when I was growing up in the 70s, they had a board game called Battleships, a strategic game. Yeah, I remember Battleships. I remember Battleships well, actually. Yeah. I mean, we have to consume. That's the thing. And by the way, sports is another way of studying militarism. Believe that. Believe that when I tell you. I know Trigger Happy 262 is into that. Sports is another way of studying defense and offense. And that's something, but you can't just take it as, a guy scored 2 points, a guy shot a 3. No, you got to get into that. And that's one thing I appreciated growing up back home in secondary school. We actually learned about like the intricacy of defense and offense. So I think it's something that we should discuss. Who is that? Only want to say something?
Yeah, let me say two things. One,
yeah.
Well, the first thing I wanted to say was, I don't know, everybody knows about role-playing games, RPGs. The first one is called Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons was based off of military board games. So they used to have tabletop board games where you would play as like one military versus another, maybe like the Axis versus the Allies, and that was what people did. A lot of people don't even realize, but a lot of like most games are based around war, or sports, but sports are like, pretend war type stuff, right? So a lot of them, like, and not just Call of Duty, but like back in the day, there used to be strategy games like Red Alert and type shit like that, right? The second thing I wanted to say was that one book that a lot of us have, well, I don't have it, but I guess I have one on the floor, but the religious books, those are a lot of them. If you were to read, not between the lines, but if you were to read the certain passages, they are talking about how to wage war, how to be better at war, how to conquer and colonize people, how to take over somebody else's land and claim it as yours 2,000 years later type shit, a lot of them. That's why, I have this, on Sundays, I talk about the worship, right? And it sounds like worship, right? But it's like, we have to be real that these people, like what Trigger Happy was saying about, we talking about, jihads and stuff. Like, I remember, because I never read the Quran, right? But I remember some brother was telling me, yeah, in the Quran, they talk about how Muhammad took on a bigger military, and it was like two people fighting at once, and he turned one person, like one group of, I don't know if it was Arabs or something, but he turned one group against another group, and then after they was weakened, he took on both of them, and that's how, you know what I mean? Like, this dude used his shit to basically get these little ragtag, mud dwellers to conquer North Africa, Southern Europe, you know what I'm saying? The Middle East, ancient Egypt, some, I don't want to say, but some big man thing, you know what I'm saying? Right. So, we have to, I think that's one of the things that you want to study. And another thing you want to do is you want to study these empires. You know what I mean? Like, not just because the Arabs had a big amount of land. I was on that podcast. We was reading Michael Bradley, I guess, white boy. And they were talking about the Mongolians. I look up Genghis Khan. This guy had the biggest empire in the world up until the British. You know what I'm saying? So the second biggest, and his was contiguous. So this dude has an empire, the largest empire in the world. I think it's probably like maybe a little bit bigger than Africa, or maybe the size of Africa, but like around the size of Africa, one dude with a whole empire. You know what I mean? And he was just conquering people left and right. That sounds like a motherfucker you want to study. You know what I'm saying? So like if we're being serious, if we're being real, like you gotta, like we have to get with the program. You know what I mean? We just have to get with the program. I'm gonna say that.
No, only I appreciate what you said. You're absolutely correct. Who's that, Bakari?
Read the Bible. You want to know about war? They tell you how to go slaughter and who to slaughter and who not to leave alive.
Yes, that's what Oni is talking about. That's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, look. I'll say this. I wouldn't personally read the Bible. I'll just say that. But like I did. But what I would say is this. I was. So tomorrow's worship, we're gonna go through, I think, Matthew's 5 and 7, something like that, right? And I think I look a little ahead with 8 or something. Like he starts referencing the Old Testament, and like this guy Jesus, it's Jesus talking, right? He's referencing the Old Testament. And he's like, you know how they say you should obey your master type shit. I don't know, so not that, but like some stupid shit like the Lord, keep your vows to the Lord, type of stuff, right? And so I look it up because I'm like, I don't know what he's fucking talking about. So it's from Deuteronomy, okay? And so in Deuteronomy, right before they say keep your vows to the Lord, they like you can charge a foreigner interest, but you can't charge your brother.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like they understand that, because that's another part of military. Because Erzuli, that's why I say we got to study military. Because Erzuli's talking about, oh, you want guns and shit. You don't even only have to be violent to be militarily minded. You get what I'm saying? You don't only have to be violent. Because I'm not even going to say you don't have to have a gun, because it's good to have a gun. What I'm saying is that you don't have to only be violent, because you could just as easily be like, yeah, you know what? First Rifleman's not in the group. You understand? That's a military mindset. Yeah. I'm not saying that Brother Bakari, trying to get first battle in the group. I'm not saying it's not military. I'm just saying that, because both of them are military mindsets. And that's the thing that we have to also pick up on. Because that's one of the most important things that one of the things that I got from a brief reading of Hannibal was how he would peep the generals, or the Roman generals. And both of the Roman generals were generals, but they both had different tactics. One of them could be baited very easily. So if Hannibal starts attacking a town, they're going to try to defend it, and Hannibal will smash them, right? And another one's like, I don't give a shit if you attack the town. I'm just going to stay in Rome and wait out your aggression. You understand? But Hannibal knew how he knew the difference between the two, and he knew how to bait them. But that's the whole thing. It's like a military mindset is just a matter of having a strategy to win. You understand? And so one of the strategies to win doesn't have to only be violent, because you could easily say, look, we're just going to charge these foreigners interest. Or another thing I know from this Old Testament, because like I said, I wouldn't read it personally, but I hear people say stuff, right? And one of the things that they say is that you can't, if a piece of meat falls on the floor, right? You can't sell it to your own people, but you can sell it to a Gentile.
Absolutely.
You understand?
Yep.
So you can sell trash, because I can't remember. I think it was, maybe it was Brother Bakari again, because Brother Bakari be on, right? And I think he was saying that, look how the Arabs, they don't drink alcohol, but they sell it to you, right? Oh, and then Bwana was like, if that was me, I wouldn't drink nothing if somebody wasn't eating that they plate. But that's what they're telling you. They are saying religiously, oh yeah, we can give other people shit, but we wouldn't give our own. You can't give your own. You know what I'm saying? You have to have standards, but you don't need other people to have standards. That's a military mindset too. And if you ain't hip with that, right? If you ain't hip with standards, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you see what's happening.
Yep.
Basically, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Bakari. Real quick, I just say this. Nama X is putting out some good stuff there. Nama X is touching on something I dealt with a little while ago. This naming thing, this naming thing is super important to the psychology. You understand? Even the idea that you name your kid something warlike and teach them what it means is something, African war is super important. I see gas on there trolling us and whatnot, but it's super important. Azuli, you need to bring your ass up here. I thought we had some understanding this week when I saw you. Come up here and speak to what you're talking about. Bobby Wright says the Mongol warlord Timur Leng was one of the greatest military strategists and a pioneer of psychological warfare by using terror, right? Bakari, I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was saying what I noticed, what I was going to say, and I heard what basically only was talking about. If you really want to study war, you have to study your surroundings and study what's going on now. Even when Carl spoke earlier, and he was like, an alliance would never work because white people going to always be racist. The problem with that is we are not racist. If you know they are racist, what's wrong with us having the same love for ourselves? Right. What's wrong with us being racist? You have to understand the surroundings. You have to understand the people that you're dealing with. Power and control. That's what they're about. We seem to be about, let's take our racism and hide it. Let's flush our racism down the drain. But if we understand what racism is, racism don't even mean you hate. Racism just means you love your people more than you love anybody else. Let's start looking at things different. So in this war that we're in, even when we use it and calling other people racist, that has been something that has been used against us in this fight for us wanting to be liberated. They got us to a point where we're scared to be racist, while every other group of people is absolutely racist and concerning themselves with themselves more than anybody else. Just noticing your surroundings.
Thank you for that, Bakari. Lero says a good point here. We have a military mindset. We would understand that we are in retreat. I like that, Lero. I like that. So, hey, Erzuliism and whoever else might.
I'm up here, folks. They ain't coming. Azul ain't. I'm up here. He ain't coming. I'm up here.
Azuli just cried. That's it. You know what I'm saying?
He ain't coming. Retreat. Yeah, but real talk. Like I don't think we take it seriously. This military mindset, and because we don't take it seriously, we don't see the militarism in some small things. You could read about it in books. You could like only point out certain games. Tanzan point out certain games, and I point out chess is a whole military thing. It's a whole military thinking type thing, and we just don't get it. I telling you, this Fenton W. Dixon, who's right, the Hardy Boys, he wrote about this shit in the 60s. These white boys had computers and were doing war simulations. I think only gave me the update a second ago. I forgot now. I'll listen to the playback. But these guys have been doing war simulations for the longest. Why do you think they're doing that stuff? And we're just sitting here with our thumb up our ass, so to speak. It's real strange of us, man. It's real, and like Oni said, and I agree, warfare is not just about, and Trigger Happy said it too earlier in the chat, warfare is not just about having the guns. Do you have the mindset to go and deal with this shit? Man, we got to think about this stuff. But that was a good conversation. If anyone has any last words, go ahead, drop them now before I go to the next prompt. All right, seems like everyone is quiet. Let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 4. Hold on, before let me see if I could pick up what Bobby Wright said. Bobby Wright says, "Military Art of People's War" by Vietnamese General Giap or Giap, I guess. Trigger Happy 262 says, "Need to buy that book. Been recommended before." So that's what I'm saying. You know, this is where we got to share these ideas, but not just share them, follow up. Even this thing that Bakari brought to the forefront with the ham radio stuff. A lot of people are sleeping on that too. That's super important. You know, no one is saying go gas. No one is saying go to war without guns. No one is saying that's silly. But you have to have the mindset to go to war, the mindset to pick up the gun anyway. If you don't have the mindset, the gun is nothing.
Yeah,
I think it was Thomas Sankara. I'm sorry, go ahead. I think it was Thomas Sankara said that without a soldier, without the correct political and ideological training, is a potential criminal. So having guns is worthless if you don't have the correct ideology.
Yeah, that's the thing that, you know, like, I don't know why this brother's trolling, but, you know, the thing is that, you know, even, so this is one of the things that I was, you know, I knew a long time ago, which is that the U.S. Army don't even give a shit if you know how to shoot. The U.S. Army cares if you know who to shoot, if you know when to shoot. You know what I mean? So like for instance, like you see how Bakari could go to the field and show the recruits how it's done, right? But the U.S. Army don't want him. You understand? What they want is somebody who is susceptible to the political education or the political miseducation that America's offering, right? So the mindset, like you can't underestimate the mindset, because the reality is this, like what Gas is saying, you know, the Congolese have guns too. You understand? So just having a gun don't mean that you're gonna be on the right side. What you cannot undervalue a mindset. You cannot undervalue the strategic brain. Because when you undervalue that's already like silly. You know what I mean? If you want to help people, yes, you should be armed, but you must have a good mindset as well. And like that's what I'm saying. Like you can't, like people trolling like that. Like I like that Gas is trolling, because that just lets you know, okay, don't include him. You understand? He's not serious. And that's I like that. I like when people tell me they're not serious. Because if people are suffering and you feel like there's some like you should that suffering should end, then what you joking about for? You know what I'm saying? Like let's be serious. If you feel like you have the right solution, if you think that, oh, why don't you go down in there? So why don't you do it? If that's the mindset that you coming at with people with, you know what I'm saying? But like my thing is this: of course you want people to be on, but you also have to be you also have to have the mindset. You also have to identify who is ally, who is enemy. But if you can't do that, then that's on you. You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, give him stop patrolling, man. He trying to get the confidence back to come back on the panel while I'm up here. Him and Julie, they trying to get their confidence back, man. Their confidence in shape.
Wisdom Bar says facts. They are the walking quote unquote stay ready. But how much they study warfare? Yeah, we're clowning around. We're making jokes from the peanut gallery. Only I see you download that book. I gotta look and see if I can find it on my book.
I'm about to share it. I'm about to share the link. I was just talking for a second.
All right, cool. I appreciate that. So Trigger Happy, be aware that the link is coming. He says Trigger Happy says we also deal with the logic of either or in this topic, and not both or and. Gas even says gas is definitely not serious. Bobby Wright says to me, General Giap commanded the Vietnamese against the U.S. Army in the Vietnam War, and he wrote a book. Good to know. You know, so serious folks who want to have this mindset. We talked about having the gun earlier. Right there's the link. Right, check out Oni's Google Drive, and you'll get the book. All right, so I hope Trigger Happy takes that down. You know, clicks that link. And gets the book. You know, I really appreciated that conversation on that topic, man. For real. Let's go to topic number 4 tonight. That was a good conversation. When I clip that, I hope that gets numbers when I start really working those clips on the clips channel.